Hi, everyone. This is Obed Ventura with Action Network. We'll be getting started in just a couple minutes. I want to give some time for folks who are a little late to hop on the call. So we'll be getting started in about 1 to 2 minutes. Thank you. Okay, everyone, we'll be getting started now. My name is Obed Ventura, and I'm the Partnerships and Supports Coordinator here at Action Network. For the purposes of this demo, I'm going to ask the folks stay muted so there's not as much background noise. If you have any questions, feel free to drop those in the chat, and I'll be stopping periodically to answer those for you. So let's go over how this demo will go. First, I'll discuss what makes Action Network unique. Next, we'll jump into the demo. At the end, we'll discuss pricing and answer any lingering questions that folks have. So what makes Action Network unique? Action Network is a full digital organizing suite of tools, including mass email and mobile messaging, in addition to all of our actions, like petitions, forms, events, fundraising, and more. Our intuitive design makes it super easy to use for groups of all sizes, from small organizing collectives to the AFL-CIO. We also have a huge number of integrations. We have things like Salesforce, ActBlue, Catalyst, and many, many more. And we also have an integrations program so that we can bring on new ones. And we also have a totally open API, so you can build your own integration if that's something you have the capacity for. Now, on Action Network, you can automate messages, manage people on your list through tags, manage donors, issue refunds, and track action takers. Best of all, we are here to serve the movement and not make a profit, so we only charge you for your usage of our system and nothing more. This means a lot of partners tend to contribute between a third to half of what they pay for profit vendors. So with this, let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is take a look at my group. It's called the Worker Solidarity Center. And groups on Action Network are a way for your organization to build an email list and publish actions. They set up a structure that allows you to work with allies, colleagues, and staff in a way that mimics the structures organizations use every day. So for today, we want the mayor of DC to raise the minimum wage. That's the campaign we'll be working on. So let's upload a list of our supporters. Now, some notes on uploads are that this must be a CSV file, and it must contain email addresses or mobile number. We'll use those pieces of data to deduplicate people on your list. So let's have, here we are, this file here, and let's add a title to it. And I'll just name this after today's date. And during the uploads process, you also have the option to add tags. Now, tags can be used to divide your group into smaller subgroups and segment your list. You can also use it to track broad information about your list. So things like issue area, the campaigns people are interested in, the types of emails people want to see, volunteer status, and more. So I'm going to apply the minimum wage tag, since that's the campaign these folks are interested in. Once I'm done, I'll click Upload and Match Fields, and I'll be able to match the headings in my CSV file with the field names in Action Network. Now we have some core fields built in, such as first and last name, email, zip code, address, city, state, country, language, and mobile number. But your organization probably has different pieces of data you want to upload as well. So here there was a section for people to share their stories. I can choose to ignore this, or click Create New Field to create a custom field to store this data. When you're first migrating onto Action Network, I would recommend uploading all your custom fields at once so they're all there and ready to go. Once you're done, you'll click Finish Upload, and it will begin to process once we load. Now, obviously, if you have thousands or millions of names you're going to upload, this is going to take a bit longer, but that's how you can get data into Action Network. Did folks have any questions about that? Awesome. So if there aren't any other questions, let's go on to creating actions that people can take. For that, I'll go to the Actions menu, and we'll be creating a petition. On the Edit Petition page, there will be hints at every step to help you out in case you get stuck. And the first thing we'll do is add a title. So we'll say raise the minimum wage. Next, we enter our target, and I'll make this DC's Mayor Muriel Bowser. Next, I'll add why this is important. And this is basically just a description. Up here, we have a toolbar, so I can change the formatting, alignment, bold, italicize, strike through, add images and videos, all that classic stuff. You can also code this entirely using HTML if you have the capacity. Below this, you'll want to make sure it's sponsored by your group. And at the very bottom is a text that will get sent to our target. So I'll say, workers in DC deserve a living wage. Now let's take a look at this sidebar here. At the top, there's a progress bar that allows you to show how many signatures you have. If you leave it alone, it will start at 25 and increase automatically to show steady momentum, but you can add your own goal if you like. This can also be completely disabled if you don't need this for a particular action. Below this is the form that people will actually fill out. You can customize it using HTML, but most often you'll use the form builder. Now, Action Network lets you pre-build questions that you're going to be asking very often, and they will appear in the question library. So I pre-built a question asking people how they heard about us, so I can just select it and drag it in. The great thing about pre-built questions is that they prevent you from having a bunch of custom fields or questions floating around that all collect the same piece of data. And you won't need to create the question from scratch every time. This also saves all the data in one place across all of your actions, so it's super easy to report on. Now you can build questions from scratch if you have to. And I'll just drag this radio button in and add the question that I want people to respond to. And I want to know if people want to be more involved in organizing around this issue. I'll put in my response options, yes and no. And up here, you'll notice we have the option to tag an activist. Now, if I do this, a tag will be applied depending on how people respond. So people who respond with yes will be tagged as organizers, and people who respond with no will be tagged as supporters. In the future, I'll be able to target specific content to these audiences using their responses to these questions. So that's another way that tags can help you really get the content people want to see to the right audience. Once we're done, we click Save and go to the next step, and we're taken to our default thank you page. You can edit the language there and edit our sharing options for Facebook, Twitter, and email. You can also completely disable sharing options, and this is great if you don't want people who aren't a supporter or member to be filling out a form. Once you're done, you'll click Save and Publish to make this action live. Now is the fun part. We can start sharing this petition widely. And on Action Network, everyone who signs this petition is automatically added to your email list. So this allows you to grow your reach. Now, Action Network also offers a mobile messaging add-on. This is an add-on. It doesn't come standard with an email partnership, but it allows you to do more things like text to take action. So people can sign this petition by texting in a keyword. And you'll also be able to send mobile messages to these people once they're added to your list. And I'll be showing you how you can do that a bit later on. So the first thing I'll do is add a keyword, and I'll use sign. Now you can only use this keyword once across all your group's actions. So if you're already using the keyword, we'll let you know where that is. You can remove it from the old action and add it to the new one. You can also add multiple keywords to the same action. Now you'll see this number here. This is the phone number for my organization. And this is the same number across all of my actions. So I'm just going to take a second right now. And I'm going to text that number. And in a bit, I'll show you what it looks like to receive a signature through mobile messaging. There we are. Now, you can use text to take action on petitions like I've done here, events so people can RSVP, and forms so people can text to join your mobile list. People who do this are also automatically added to the mobile list. So in the same way, anyone who signs this link or signs this petition through a link you shared on Facebook is added to your email list, people who text in their actions are added to your mobile list. So both of them really allow you to grow your digital programs. Before I continue on how you can customize this action, did folks have any questions about anything I've covered so far? Great. So the next thing we're going to cover is the Action Manage page. And that's what we're looking at right now. From here, we can do a few things. We can view our petition. And if we do that, you'll notice that Action Network automatically detects when someone has an account, and they autofill their info to make it easier for them to sign. Now, you can also edit this after it's been published or edit the tags. If I come here, I can add that minimum wage tag once again. And anyone who signs this petition will have this tag added to their record. So in the future, if I have other actions I want them to take or I have any campaign updates, I can send that to people interested in this campaign using that tag. Down here, we can apply a page wrapper. This is a feature that's only available to paying partners, but it allows you to have your own branding on Action Network pages. So I've created a wrapper here. Now let's apply it and take a look at my action now. So you'll notice that all the Action Network branding is gone and my Worker Solidarity Center logo is front and center. This wrapper was auto-generated, which is great if you are like me and you have no clue how to code. All you needed was an image of the logo, and I selected two colors, white for this header background and red for the buttons and accents. But you can code this entirely using HTML if you have the capacity. To embed this on your website, you can copy the embed code located right here. We have a variety of styles and layouts for you to choose from. And if we go to the Daily Kos homepage and scroll to the bottom, we can see what one of these actions actually look like embedded on a website. You'll notice that they've customized this heavily, so it matches their font and colors of their website, and it's really branded to look exactly how they want it to and fit the feel of the site. Both the embeds and page wrappers are fully customizable using CSS and JavaScript. Next, I'm going to come here and I'll just explain a little bit about what some of these tabs here can do. From the Stats tab, I can see how many signers I have over time, as well as referral and source tracking. On Action Network, we use source codes to let you see what sites people are signing your petition from. So you can see if people signed from a website, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you shared a link. You can add them yourself to URLs, but Action Network will do this automatically. They let you see where your digital program is doing very well and where the most effective sharing method is for your organization. And they also let you know where maybe you need to change things up and change how you share on particular platforms. Next, I'm going to go to the responses tab, and you can do some cool things here. This thank you redirect link box allows you to redirect people to a different website other than that bright green thank you page we just saw. So you can redirect people to your website or donation page. Below this, you can enable or disable an auto response and edit that language right there. The sharing and tracking tab gives you another opportunity to edit the sharing language for Facebook, Twitter, and email. If you want a specific image to appear when people click share, upload it to the Facebook section, and it automatically applies to Twitter. At the bottom, there's also a place where you can insert Google and Facebook ad pixels, and it will track those for you. Now let's go to the report and delivery options. First, I'm going to look at this latest 100 activists section. This allows you to view the most recent 100 people who signed this action. And right now, you'll notice that there are two signatures here. This first signature comes from me as a creator. We assume if you create an action, you support it. So we'll always add the creator's name as the first signature. Now, the second one, if we come over here, is the one that I texted in. And I know I texted it in because it has that little one under the mobile opt-in. Now, normally when people text to take action, they won't have all this information. It's all appearing right here because I've taken action before and action never remembers all my info. But usually you'll only have people's phone number. And you'll want to set up follow-up messages to collect people's info like name, email, or zip code. And I'll be showing you how you can do that using ladders a bit later on in the demo. Below this, we have our delivery options. You can choose email delivery. And if you do that, just enter the target's email address, hit send, and they'll receive a PDF copy with the petition text and all the comments and names of the signers. Or you can choose a physical delivery. Here, you'll be able to generate a report on your data that contains the names, locations, and all responses to forum questions. You can then deliver this in person to your target. So that's how you can manage your action on Action Network. Did folks have any questions about that? So the next thing I'm going to cover is all the other actions you can do, and I'll be going over some of our most popular ones. So we just did petitions. Next, we have events. These can be used for anything, such as happy hours, marches, strikes, holiday parties. Especially in the last year, we saw them used a lot for webinars and online actions. These can be edited after being published, and if you do that, your attendees automatically receive an email reflecting any of the changes you've made. Next, we have forms. This is great for collecting info or surveying supporters. A lot of our partners like to embed these onto their website, and they use that to sign people up to their email list. Below this, we have letter campaigns. This is probably our most popular action. They let you send letters to targets that you specify. We have some built-in targets for members of the US Congress, governors, and state legislatures, but you can upload custom targets, so you can target a local city councilor or board of directors, for example. You can pre-write the letter or let people write it themselves. And some folks get confused on the difference between the letter campaign and a petition. But the way I like to think about it is, a letter campaign bombards your targets with individual letters that get sent one by one, while a petition shows you how much support you have overall, and these get sent all at once. Next, we have fundraisers, which is great for fundraising. It works with nonprofits, C3s, C4s, PACs, unions, candidates. It doesn't matter. We work with everyone. You can choose between WePay or Stripe as a payment processor. And for both one-time and recurring donations, we'll save people's info. Again, we do also have an integration with ActBlue if that's something that your organization needs. Now, there's one more action that I wanted to cover that's not included in that Actions tab, and that's the event campaign. So you'll see that button here. The event campaign is a tool that the Women's March and US climate strikes used. The events will show up on a map. You'll be able to search by zip code for an event near you. click on it, and RSVP. Activists can also sign up to host their own events. And if they do this, the events they create are automatically added to the map, so people in that community can attend that one. You'll be able to add banner, customize text, and provide more info to both hosts and guests. Now that I have covered actions, I'm going to send out the one that we've just created to the people on my email list. So I'll go to that people menu and select emails. The first thing I'll do is add a subject line. So I'll say raise the minimum wage once again. And over here, I can add additional subject lines. So I can do A/B testing to see what language works best to get people to click and take action. So for the second one, I'll say support DC workers. And after I send this out, I'll be able to see which subject line performed best, and that can help inform how I write subject lines in the future. Or I can test this with a limited audience, see what works, and then send out the winner to my entire list. After I enter my subject lines, I'll enter a from line and reply to, and then we can write our text here. Now, you'll notice we have a lot of the same customization options that we saw with the petition, but now we have this clips button. Clips allow you to insert personalized info based off of the data you have in Action Network. So you can insert someone's name, the city they live in, the latest amount they've donated, and a whole bunch of other info. So for today, I'll use that first name clip. And when I hit send on this email, the first name we have on file is what will appear here. And if we have no first name, it will default to friend or whatever I choose to type. Then to link to my action, I'll just copy the URL, highlight the text, and click that link button to insert it. Now, for the purposes of this demo, I'm done. Obviously, you want to make this look as pretty as you need it to be. And you can also code this entirely using HTML as well. Down here, we can send ourselves a test. You should receive this test within seconds to a minute, and I highly encourage folks to do that. You'll be able to see what it looks like in an actual inbox before sending it out to people on your list. And you'll be able to see if the images are loading properly, there aren't any typos, make sure that it looks good across screen sizes, different details like this. Once you've tested, you can click Save and target your email to send it out to folks on your list. So this is the targeting page for an email. You can target by geographic location, so state, district, country, city. You can target based off of whether or not people took action in the past, or if they opened or clicked an email. You can target donors, and if you're using the ActBlue integration, those donors would get included here. Now you can also target using tags. I'm going to target this to the minimum wage tag, since that's the audience that I want to see this. You can also do some engagement-based targeting using this action, email opened, and email click activity fields. It's better to have a much smaller, more engaged list than a very large, very unengaged list. And these fields help you get it to people who have engaged with you in the past and who are likely to do so again. Once you're done with targeting, you're going to click Save, Preview, and Send. It's going to preview the message before it goes out, and also calculate the number of people on your list who will receive this based off of those parameters that you've set. So I'll let this calculate for a minute. And it looks like this is going to go out to one person on my list. I can schedule this email for any point in the future, or just send it out right away. And if I do this, I'll be taken to an email manage page where I can see important stats on things like opens, clicks, and action rates, as well as unsubscribes, bounces, and spam complaints. In the test results tab, I'll just reload this here. We'll be able to see the results of my subject line tests. There we are. So I can see the different stats between each. And let's say this support DC workers one got a bunch of opens and clicks, and I want people on the rest of my list to see this email. I can click duplicate with exclude, and it will duplicate both the email and the targeting, but exclude anyone who received my tests. So I can send this out knowing that it's the best subject line to get people to take the action that I want. And the people who already got these tests aren't going to get the same email twice. In the clicks tab, you'll be able to see all the links that you included in your email, as well as the unique and raw number of clicks that each got. Did folks have any questions about creating, targeting, or managing your email? Yeah, so someone just sent me a message asking to repeat what a wrapper is. So there are two places that you can use a wrapper. The page wrapper would apply to a specific action. So it's what allows you to have your own organization's branding on the page. So this is the action created without the wrapper. You notice that it has all the Action Network stuff on it. While right here, I have only my organization's logo and all the other branding has been stripped. Now you also have email wrappers, and email wrappers are kind of similar to this. All you see is this logo front and center on an email, and you won't have a ton of Action Network branding on it. And wrappers are only available to paying partners. And an important flag for email is that we are required by law to include an unsubscribe link at the bottom of every email. So there will be a little thing at the bottom that says this was sent through Action Network. To unsubscribe, click here. And we are not allowed to remove that because it is, in fact, a law. You're welcome. So the next thing I'm going to do is send this out to people on my mobile list. Now, some notes before I do this. Again, mobile messaging is an add-on with an additional cost, and we'll need to add it to your email partnership. It doesn't come standard. I won't go in a lot of depth on mobile pricing today, but you can reach out to support@actionnetwork.org, and we can give you more info on it there. So I'll go to that people menu and select mobile messages. And you have the option to send SMS, which is basically just text, or MMS, which includes images. And for today, I'll just be sending text. And the first thing you do is add an administrative title. Now, this is just an internal name for the message that makes it super easy for other admins to search for it and find it. Next, I'll enter the body of my message. And I'll say demand that Mayor Bowser raise a minimum wage for workers in the district. And I'll include a link to my action. Up here, we have an emoji library, so you can include emojis if you'd like. And if you want to do A/B testing on mobile, you would just add an alternate body. Down here, you can send yourself a test to your phone so that you can see what it looks like to receive this message on an actual mobile device. And once you're done, you'll click Save and Target. Now, Action Network has integrated dual targeting. What does that mean? You'll notice that the targeting for mobile is identical to the targeting for email. While these lists are separate, they all pull from the same data in Action Network. So that data is integrated, and it makes it super easy to target messages and emails based off of actions that took place on either list. So I can target this message to people who took action, or even people who opened or clicked on an email. So you can really have both programs working together and complementing one another. Next, I'll add that minimum wage tag once again. And this mobile click activity field is what would allow you to do engagement-based targeting for mobile. Once we're done, we'll click Save, Preview, and Send. And just like before, It's going to preview the message and calculate the number of people who will get it. I can schedule this for any point in the future or send it by time zone. If I do this, I can select a specific time that I want this to go out in every time zone around the world. So over a 24-hour period, this message would go out at 3 p.m., for example, in each time zone around the world. So that really helps you get the message out at exactly the right time. You can also just send it right away. And when we do that, we're taken to a mobile message manage page where I'll be able to view important stats on things like clicks, unsubscribes, and actions. Did folks have any questions about sending a mobile message? Great, so the next thing I'm going to do is take a look at our ladders feature. Now, ladders allow you to automate conversations with activists on your list and even some processes on the back end. So you can automatically add or remove tags and even write data to custom fields. So let's take a look at this ladder that I've created for my petition. So this ladder is designed to collect more info from people who texted in their action. Like I said earlier, people who text in their action, you'll normally only have their phone number, but that's not usually enough info to build out a cohesive program. So ladders like this allow you to collect info and build off of the action that people just took. So people will get triggered in anytime they sign my raise the minimum wage petition, but only people who text to take action are going to be included. Next, I have a decision step that checks to see if I have a first name on file. If I don't, I'll send a follow-up mobile message asking for their first name. Then I have this wait step in which I wait for up to an hour for their reply, and whatever they reply will get stored in the first name field. Next, I ask for their zip code. If I don't have it, I'll send a message, wait for a response, and store that in zip code field. And I'll finish off by sending them a thank you message. Now, let's say, coming back up here, I did have a first name on file. They would skip that step and go straight to the zip code question. If I had a zip code on file, it would skip down and they would just receive the thank you message. So ladders like these are a really great way to collect or give more information to your activists. And you can have both emails and mobile messages included in the same ladder. When building ladders like this, the most important thing to note is that they are not retroactive. So you want to make sure that you publish a ladder like this before you send out your petition. And you also want to make sure that you don't add too many questions here. I would recommend just having 2 to 3. The more messages you send to people, the fewer and fewer of them will actually reply. So I would recommend just collecting the absolute essentials here. So first name, zip code, maybe their email address. And you can use that to collect further information as you need it. Now, the last thing I'm going to take a look at is the group manage page. And for this, I'll just be going through some of these tabs here and explaining what you can do from them. First, we have the stats tab. And this lets you see an estimate of your list size, fundraising, and some data visualizations to make it all make sense. The Activist tab lets you pull reports so you can view them directly in the user interface. Normally, when you pull a report, you need to download it as a CSV file and view it offline. But with this tab, you can select a specific report you want to appear here, click Save, and you'll have quick access to the results. This is really useful, I found, if you want quick access to a report on donors or new subscribers. In the Administrators tab, you'll be able to add or remove administrators and organizers. There is a difference between the two. Organizers can bring data in, but they can't access it. So it's really great for interns or volunteers, or basically anyone who wants to work with your organization, but doesn't need full access to your data. Admins, on the other hand, have full access to your data, but you can limit permissions to limit what people can actually do. Below this is where you can invite people to your group. Just enter their email addresses, hit send, and if they have an account, they'll automatically be added. If they don't, they'll receive an email with instructions to create one and join your group. Finally, we have the settings tab, and here you can change some general broad settings for your group. You can enable affirmative opt-in buttons on all forums where your group is the main sponsor. So if I come to my action, you'll notice that I had an affirmative opt-in button added here. I didn't create this, it was automatically added because I had that box ticked. This is really great if you're in Europe or anywhere subject to GDPR. You can also enter default from and reply to lines. Recall when I was writing my email, I already had these boxes filled in. That's because I entered this info here. You'll be able to write some automatic replies and default messages for mobile and for recurring and failed donations. So that brings us to the end of today's demo. Now let's discuss pricing. Action Network is a nonprofit, so that helps us keep our prices low. We don't have any contracts or fees, and we ask that our partners contribute $1 per 1,000 emails they send each month. Our minimum is $10 a month. We can give you a quote based off of your average monthly email volume. As a partner, you'll be able to upload lists and use page wrappers to brand your pages. We review your email volume each month to see how many emails you're actually sending, and we'll adjust your price accordingly. Now, for access to networks, we do ask for a slightly higher contribution in minimum. So if you think you may need one, let me know and I can give you more info on that pricing offline. Once you become a partner, you'll be able to add on mobile messaging. Pricing for that starts at $50 a month and covers up to 5,000 messages. You'll be charged $10 per 1,000 additional messages you send. There will also be some additional telecom fees, and this amount depends on the types of number you use and the volume. So for more specific pricing on mobile messaging, be sure to contact support or join us tomorrow at this time. We'll have a demo completely dedicated to mobile where I'll go in much more depth on how pricing works for that. You can go to actionnetwork.org/partnerships for a quote or email us at support@actionnetwork.org if you have any questions about anything I've covered here. Now, I will be on for a few more minutes to answer any questions that folks have, but excuse me, folks are free to hop off the call if they have to. I hope that y'all learned a lot, and I hope that we hear from you soon. And folks should receive a recording of this tomorrow in your emails. If you don't, reach out to that support email and we'll be able to get it to you. Someone asked me if this is available internationally in UK and Europe, and it is. We have a bunch of small and large UK partners, so definitely reach out if you're across the pond. And letter campaigns are included as part of the movement or network partnership. And some of our partners in the UK, we have a bunch of Green parties in the UK. I believe the Green Party of England and Wales uses us, and there's a lot of smaller nonprofits and human rights-based organizations in the UK who also use us. And I'm not familiar with that site that you're dropping in the chat, But letter campaigns can be used to send letters to members of Congress. We use the congressional API, so our letters definitely get through to the representatives. And yeah, with letter campaigns, you can control what the default message is. So you can choose to either make everyone send the default message or allow them to edit it yourself, but you do have the option to control the default message. And we also have a feature that allows you to add a letter variant, because we found that sometimes if a member of Congress sees the exact same letter coming in a bunch of times, it's easier to ignore. And a letter variant basically allows you to have 3 versions of the same letter, and it will look much different on the receiving end. And we found that people are more responsive to things like that. So that is also another option that you have to kind of control the message there. Did folks have any other questions? And with letter campaigns, these emails are sent automatically by Action Network. And you're welcome, folks. Thanks for joining us. And I'm unsure what you mean by the option for members to send emails. Do you mean members of Congress or specific activists on your list? So because of how so yeah, you can't create forms like that, and that would be just a regular forms action. You would have to like manually send that to the representative yourself. I would recommend using a letter campaign. With a letter campaign, the way they work is that people would enter their email address, and in terms of like the technology, we would replace that email address with an Action Network email, but the original email address would be in the reply too. So if the member of Congress wants to reply, they'll be able to just hit reply, and the original person who sent the email is the person that would receive that message. So basically, these messages would be coming from the actual constituents. Correct. They'll just enter their email address, and when they'll see the default letter that you have written there, but they won't be able to change it. And they'll just hit send letter, and it will send the letter that you wrote for them. You're welcome. If there aren't any other questions, I'll be ending this call now. Again, feel free to reach out to support@actionnetwork.org if you're ready to sign up, or if you think of anything that you didn't get a chance to ask here. Hope that everyone has a great rest of your day. See ya.